Hello, hello everyone. How are you? Bethany here. This is our 100th episode. Woohoo! Very excited about that. Sparky is so mad that he couldn't be here. He had something come up. He was so mad. So I'm sorry, you're just stuck with me today, and I've got lots of questions to go over with you. If you have a question, hi, Corday, hello. If you have any puppy questions, please put them in the comments below. I will get to them, but I need the age and breed of your puppy. If we're not doing older dog questions, it needs to be under 2 years old. All right, I'm gonna jump right in. And also, just so you guys know, how you can send us questions is you can direct message us on Instagram. So for my TikTok peeps who are re-watching this, and you've got a question you'd like us to answer, just jump on our Instagram platform and direct message us. Okay, jumping in. And I have not read these yet. I usually like to at least glance at them, but oh well, all right. So Keela, I'm sure I butchered that, says, hi, my puppy I just got 3 days ago, 5 months old. He's having some difficulty using his pee pads. We have another dog that's a year old. I don't know if that might be the problem because he pees everywhere except the pee pads. My other dog is inside trained, and I'm hoping to train this one inside too. Okay, so Sparky and I talk about this a lot. Let's see. Oh, Corday says, how's your day going? Great. I'm so excited. It's the 100th episode. But if you have any questions, just remember age and breed of your puppy when you put them in the comments below. Sparky and I, man, we talk about pee pads all the time. You know, we're not the biggest fan. However, we do have clients that have used pee pads through their whole puppy's life, and they love them. And it could be because they travel a lot. Small female dogs are usually the easiest, or it could be because of the area that they live in. They live on a top floor. There's just so many reasons that people want to pee pad train their dogs. So here's the thing. They don't all take to it very well. In fact, it's not a thing that a lot of puppies will adapt to easily. You happen to have one, it says, an older one that did a great job of figuring it out, and this one's not going so well. Honestly, that's kind of the norm. If it's a male dog, then yeah, I think you're gonna have some issues with that if they're already lifting their leg and they're marking, and that's why that's happening. So you have to take that into consideration. I don't think it says, yeah, he's 5 months old. So for me, 5 months old is on the older side. You know, I'm gonna ask questions like, well, what's the schedule like at home? What does the area look like that you're training your puppy in? Because if someone really wants pee pads, they have two choices. They can do a crate that's kind of like one of those puppy apartments where they go into another area, and it's nothing but puppy pads on the other part of the crate, or they're in a playpen and everything is covered with puppy pads, everything. If you have to tape them down, get those little holders, as long as your puppy doesn't chew them up, to make sure they don't get moved around too much. You do that for 2 to 4 weeks. Then you remove one puppy pad out of the entire area. And then another 2 to 4 weeks, another puppy pad. And so you're teaching them to go in a smaller and smaller space. And when they have an accident, you're moving too fast, you got to put that other puppy pad back. They can't have any freedom in the home until this is understood. Now, if you are if you do want your puppy to be out with you, it should be when you're walking, playing, and even walking around in the house. That's what I was trying to get to, is when you're at home and you want your puppy to be out, they don't get to roam if you're having potty issues or chewing issues. They actually need to be tethered to you. And there's so much dog stuff that you can get now. I couldn't even recommend something to you. I used to say just get a 10, 15 foot leash and go around your waist and tie it onto them, and they need to move with you. So if you see them sniffing and looking like they're about to go, you can take them out immediately. No amount of punishment in the house, I don't care what any of y'all say, no amount of punishment in the house when your puppy pees in the house is going to help them to understand to go outside. So for the love of God, everybody stop punishing their puppies for peeing in the house, okay? It's different if you've got an adult dog that's lifting their leg and marking furniture, which we went through when we adopted Dusty. But it's very different when you're puppy potty training, okay? All right, hopefully that helps, and you can definitely, if I got some info wrong or anything, because I'm trying to, just pick and choose what I can based off what I think your life might be like at home with your puppy, feel free to write back. Let's see. Hummel says the best way to crate train your puppy and the best way to start leaving your puppy alone is honestly just to do it. I mean, if you have to leave for work, you got to leave for work. The puppy goes and crate and you leave. But you want to train it like a command. So you don't want to only do crate when you're leaving. That's the worst thing you can do. You should be spending 5 to 10 minutes twice a day. We use house for crate. Some people say kennel up. Pick your word. Family picks the word. And it's not super excited. You're just like, house, toss a piece of food in there. They get the food, turn around, come right back out. Within one 10-minute session, you go ahead and start to use the crate door as spatial pressure, okay? So the puppy goes in, they turn around and try to fly out. By the end of those 10 minutes, you're already shutting the crate, opening it 2 inches, they kind of push through, shut it. You don't let your puppy out until they settle back. They don't have to sit her down. That's not necessary. You're teaching them spatial pressure. Well, here's the thing. Puppies actually already know spatial pressure. Humans screw it all up. And so the crate is a great way to kind of show them that you know how to do doggy body language too, which is basically if I move in, you have to settle back in order to get what you want. And so from here on out, after that first lesson, your puppy is never going to come out of crate without permission. But I can't tell you enough how important it is to keep it up with just commands. House, let's go. House, let's go. 10 to 15 minutes or even 5 minutes. It's amazing. It's amazing how little time it takes a couple of times a day to make something really solidify for a puppy. But it's really about the repetition. If you only do it 2 or 3 times, it's not going to do it. You want to do a minimum of 10 to 20 repetitions with everything you do. So whether that takes you 3 minutes or 15 minutes, it just depends. And then at some point you close the door and you walk away. I mean, you've got to do that at some point. Just make sure you're not adding any excitement around the crate, anything emotional around the crate, and you go from there. And you definitely want to be doing it daily. So even if you work from home all day long, like some days I'm home a lot, and our dogs are in the bedroom. Some are crated, some are not. And I could have them out with me all day. But if I did that, even with my elderly dog, Dusty, if I did that too many days in a row, that would start to become normal. And then being alone during the day could become stressful. And there's a lot of days I'm gone in a row. So I have to keep up the routine of dogs are in a certain area during the day for at least a big chunk of time forever, because that's what suits my lifestyle. So you have to figure that out. Okay, let's see here. Kathleen says, good morning. Oh, I'd like to jump on a question. Storm says, I can't eat in peace in my own kitchen. My puppy keeps biting me. Okay, Storm, I don't know how old your puppy is. Age and breed is really helpful. But I will say this, it sounds like your puppy has way too much freedom. If you can't send your puppy away and have them go settle somewhere, then they've got way too much freedom. If you haven't cultivated that relationship with your puppy yet, then they need to be crated in a playpen while you're working on impulse control when you're 5-month-old Husky. So yeah, that makes sense. So if you're not working, playing with your puppy, training something new, and play should be a small part of the things that I just said, then your puppy is crated or in an area that's away from you because you're accidentally training him to bother you when you're distracted, to be a very pushy dog because you're accidentally being so permissive. Even if you're kind of fighting with him and trying to tell him no, you're setting him up to fail. So until you have the relationship with him to where you can be like, go on, out, go on, get out of the kitchen. Go lay down over there. Okay, 5 months old, now here's a toy. Or go to crate, and Dusty just laid down. Until you have that ability through training, maturity of your pup and relationship, You gotta think of how to set your puppy up to succeed. Dusty, come back. Dusty, come here. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna jump into Kathleen's. Come here, buddy. So let's see. 8-month-old female Doberman. Submissive, anxious peeing. Oh, I hate these. I'll tell you why in a minute. Tried the don't look, don't touch when entering the house. More suggestions for head trimmers. Entering house. Do you know what head trimmers are? No? Nobody? Okay. Me either. I'm going to have to skip the head trimmers. Maybe you mean shaking their head, or some dogs do that thing, like excitedly. So the mouthing. Sorry, I was just thinking. Dobermans and Malinois, those are two breeds. Dusty, come here, bud. That do that mouth tremor a lot. And so that's why I was thinking that might be what it is. But anyway, it doesn't matter. You tried the no touch, no talk, no eye contact. Dusty, come up here. Come on. And so what I would like you to do, when your dog comes into the house, ignoring them, 8 months old, that's not going to work. Ignoring them is not going to be enough. You actually need to tell them no. So if your dog is, let's say your dog's not in a crate when you come in the house. First of all, I would suggest crating, but we'll just say your dog's not in a crate. Or maybe it's just when you enter into a room. A lot of dogs will do it just when someone comes in the room. Doing the ignoring is not enough. You actually need to say no. So what you're going to do is you're going to face your dog directly. You're standing up, of course, but you're going to face your dog directly, and you're going to move into her space. And you're not going to use your arms, you're going to use your legs because you're standing. And she's going to come at you with her cute, probably low head wiggle, body wiggle, and you're going to move in and say no. Just one step. And you don't take a step forward and rock back. You're going to step forward and complete that step. You're going to say no and move in and freeze. And she might go belly up. That's a common one that we see. And you're going to ignore it. You're just going to cross your arms and you're going to ignore the belly up and you're going to look away. You're going to be firm about it. You're going to have some attitude. You're going to be firm about it. Eventually they'll get up. Or I might even, when they're showing their belly, I might pause for a second and even nudge them with my foot. Hey, get up, let's go. Get up, let's go. Sorry, bud. And they might just stand up and then I freeze again. Then I take once my dog is frozen, they're not wiggling, they're looking at me like, why did I get in trouble? Or why did you use spatial pressure on me? And they're trying to figure it out. Take 2 steps and freeze, because that'll create excitement, movement, touching, all these things create momentum and potentially stimulation that leads to the peeing. And 2 steps and freeze, she wiggles again. Maybe she just pokes you. He's a poker. He's a border collie. He's a poker. Maybe she just pokes you on the side. He does that when it's dinner time, and he thinks dinner is late. And I will turn and face wherever he poked me, which is usually from behind. Turn and face him and step in. Make him back away from me. No. Then I turn and walk a couple steps again. And if he eats up that space, it's just rinse and repeat. The other thing I would suggest doing when you're home, and she does do that, just going from room to room, is have her drag a leash, supervised only, and flat collar. For this scenario, flat collar would be okay, or slip leash. And once you do your first no and kind of move in, hey, settle down, take a breath, pick up the leash, and you can do some pressure up in the air if she gets really excited and wiggly again. Bottom line is, your no touch, no talk, no eye contact, it's not enough. You actually have to be firmer and tell her to knock it off, to settle down. Now, I know not all family members can do this. I know not guests can do this. It's actually up to you to do this with the guest. With guests, I usually have them do this outside because you know the puppy's going to pee no matter how good everybody is at what they're doing. But maybe go on Google or YouTube and look up how to do place, balance training, place. And what you're going to find is, because 8 months old is a little older, so you can kind of dip into, some different areas rather than just the puppy academy. And what you can do is really teach, when I move in, you back off. That's what place is really great for. You back up and settle. And so start to incorporate more body language in. If you say sit at the front door, and she sits nicely and you open the door and pause and go for a walk, don't do that this time. This time I want you to just walk up to the door and open it, and when she's a little confused because you didn't give her obedience command and she kind of inches forward, turn and face her and make her give space from the door. Shut the door. Do it again. Open the door. See if she eats up space. So start to add more body language, which is their first language, more blocking into her routine, and she will just settle more naturally. And everything feeds into everything else, so it'll help a lot. Someone just asked me the type of slip leashes that I recommend. There are two that I can think of off the top of my head. Sherry Lucas, CHERILUCAS, Sherry Lucas leashes, I think is what it's called. She has if you just type in Sherry Lucas slip leashes, she has a website and you can go to shop and they have their slip leashes. They even have a backup on them. That's why I really like going to her, and I like the cording on them as well. Otherwise, he's asleep sitting. He's an old man. Otherwise, this is a Mendota, and I really like Mendota slip leashes as well. You can get those on Amazon. Mendota, Mendota. And the thing is, stop getting the 1/2 inch slip leashes. Those are pretty standard. If you have a big dog, you think you need a bigger slip leash. No, you want a thinner slip leash, and get the 3/8, and they come in 4 or 6 foot, but this is considered a 3/8, I believe so. It's not 5/8, it's 3/8 inch slip leash. And I'm talking about the width, how thick it is. For a small dog, there is an even thinner version on slip leashes. I'm sorry, I don't remember the brand, but I get them on Amazon. If you type in, small slip leash, I'm sure it'll probably pop up. Or even 5/8. You might see the Mendota and then a really, really tiny corded one. Okay, moving on. How long to leave a puppy in crate? This was a video that we did, and I got a question. Nina says, my dog's turning 1 year old. He keeps going to the bathroom in the house when no one is home from work. We take him out before and after. 8 to 5 p.m. Oh, can we leave him in crate 8 to 5 p.m.? That is so dog specific. We personally, and you said 1 year old. Gosh, I was thinking about like him. 1 year old, no. You need to get someone to come over and give him a potty break. I don't know of any 1 year old that can do that. I'm sure that they're out there. I'm sure that they are out there. But I don't personally know of any 1 year old that could do that. I have 2 male dogs tend to be able to hold their pee better. I have 2 male dogs that would be able to do that. Him, and I have another Formosan mountain breed, and he likes to mark. So they have really good bladder control, and he could totally do that, but probably not till they were 4, 5, 6 years old, And so that's why I say there's no 1 year old that I know that can do that. And just to be perfectly honest, unless they're in a kennel. So what's the difference? When I say kennel, I mean like if your dog is outside and they're in a large kennel. If they're inside and they're in a large sectioned off area of the home. The reason I say that, I don't personally recommend leaving a dog in a crate for that long a period of time. However, there's always exceptions. I've come across a few dogs that cannot be left out to their own devices, and they can't be in the backyard. And they go for hikes in the morning, and then they come home and they get play and they get walks, and they have a very fulfilled life being in crate that long. But not a lot of dogs can do that, and it's not generally recommended for a dog under 2 to 3 years old. So, sorry, take that information for what you will. I'm sorry I couldn't give you an exact answer, but I'm pretty sure there's no 1 year old I know that can do that. He needs a potty break. You can do Rover. I don't know where you live, but they can do like quick 15-minute potty break, middle of the day, things like that. A neighbor, some access. You could build a side run out of your house. I know I'm giving you all this stuff that costs money. I'm sorry, but I just don't see any situation where that would work with most dogs. Okay, so we got a question over here. Okay, my daughter has a 1.5-year-old bully beagle mix, pit mix, I think, and we've been working on no pulling. Help. 1.5-year-old dog. Okay, so I would say that the first thing that the first questions that I would ask is, are you using food? Is your dog used to even working for food? Like, can you just use, if you use kibble, just dry food? Can your dog just do cum work and take kibble out of your hand? That's what I mean by used to working for food. You could use treats if you want, but please use healthy treats because it's a lot of food work. Whether you've got food enthusiastic dog or not, you got to get that dog into follower mode somehow. 1.5-year-old dog we can be a little more firm with. They're not some cute little puppy that needs tons of consideration and breaks and things like that. So for me, I want head control of some sort. And so there's a million different tools that you can use for that. And I don't know how old your daughter is, but I would still want some sort of head control. 60 pounds, 50 pounds. We have treats, yeah. So you got to have some sort of head control. If you were going to use a slip leash, most people use it incorrectly. And what I mean by incorrectly is they let it slide down the neck where it becomes comfortable to pull. It has to stay very high. Oh, come here with your head, Dusty. So like when I put it on him, you can't see, he's got fur. I need a pity. It's like right here. And then I got the little notch to cinch it up. And if it slides down on the walk, I'm adjusting it if I'm using a slip leash. But there's lots of training tools for a young dog you could use. You could try a gentle leader. You could look into turning the slip leash. Actually, my recommendation for you would be to turn your slip leash into a power loop. You can probably Google that and find some videos on it, but it's where you got a big loop and you twist it and you put it over the nose, but it still attaches, the leash still comes out the back, versus a gentle leader, which guides the nose. It can put a lot of pressure on the nose. It can be really hard for dogs to adjust to. The power loop tends to be a bit easier for some dogs. Anyway, you want to get them into follower mode. So in the house, in the backyard, if you cannot do a turn on leash and him immediately turn with you and do it calmly, like you don't have to go, let's go buddy. You don't have to use a lot of excitement. Like you just get him into a calm follower mode. If you can't do that in the leash, in the yard, in the parking garage, of the apartment you live in, then you shouldn't be trying to go for a walk like that yet. Really hone those skills around the home. And then it's like you're in front of your house and the 2 side houses, and that's it. You get into your car, you go to the park, not on a Saturday morning where it's crazy, but you try to go to the park and you work at the park where you've got more space to breathe, more room. It's not so stressful as a busy suburban environment. That's another option. So you've got to just really get that dog into wanting to follow you. So it's lots of turns. So every time my dog goes out ahead of me, I'm going to counteract that and turn and go the other way. They go out ahead of me the other way, I'm going to turn and I'm going to warm them up with tons of like arms straight, lots of guidance, no pulling, like just tension on the leash to show them where to go. And then a 1.5-year-old dog, I've been doing that for 10-15 minutes. They go out, they're still going out ahead of me because they're very drivey, because that's what they're used to doing. I might do a little tug and release and then turn and calmly walk again. It's just all about getting them into the movement. Then you can mix in a few sits, but pull excitement away from it. Don't be like, come on, let's go, buddy. Get rid of all of that. Keep it just calm, associated with just leading the walk. And again, that's advice for a 1.5-year-old bully mix. That is, pulling like a freight train. And that is not a fun walk. I do not want to see that dog just get restricted to the yard because they can't walk. So look into some of the stuff that I mentioned. Oh, you're welcome. All right, I'm going to move on. Top 5 things that we would do as a dog trainer with a new puppy. That was one of the videos that we did. It's on YouTube. And the question I got is from Natalie. She says, I completely agree with not allowing the puppy to roam free in the house, but I wanted to know that it can go into those rooms. What do I do? But I wanted to know. Well, okay. So if the question is, I want my puppy to know that it can go into some of those rooms, what do I do? You're just overthinking it, Natalie. I mean, you just take them into that room. There's a huge difference between all my doors are open and my puppy chooses to go where they want to go, when they want to go there, and they're picking socks from under the bed, and they're stealing my daughter's toys, and they're doing this, and this. There's a huge difference between that versus my puppy does not get any freedom unless I provide it and I'm watching them, and I'm going to go into my daughter's room. So I'm going to take the puppy with me, and then I'm going to tell her to go to place because we've been practicing place. I'm going to bring her dog bed in there. I'm going to give her a chew toy, and I'm going to sit with my daughter on the bed while I'm training the puppy how to be polite and respectful in a new room. So it's not that they can't go in there. It's that you take them in there and you set the rules for that room. I kid you not, every room could mean something different. In this room, the puppy sleeps on the bed. It's a free-for-all, plays tug-of-war with my son. They're out of control. And so every time the puppy walks in there, it's really high energy. It won't listen to me versus my room where he knows that's for sleeping. That's to be respectful. There's no jumping on the bed without permission. And they can learn that. They can learn this room means this. This room means this. What your job is as a puppy owner is the same, as a parent, in the sense of you're guiding them, you're telling them what things represent and how to behave in each room. And so just keep that in mind. Just because they are polite in the living room, because that's where you've done all the work, does not mean they'll be polite going into another room that's like the ribbon wrapping room or the kids' room that has all this new fun stuff. The puppy has to be on leash, and you're training them in that room as well. Just keep that in mind, and you'll be good. Just don't give them free access to do, whatever they want. All right, guys. Let's see. There was something that, if I don't have any more questions on here, yeah, I think I'm good. Since I got a couple of minutes, there was one thing that I wanted to go over with you guys anyway, and it looks like I actually have time to do it for once. So I just did a lesson with a young adolescent puppy over 6 months old that is really calm and chill in the house. They did all their work in the beginning, and they crated and they did all of that, and the puppy is so chill and so easy in the house. So why was I called? Well, the puppy doesn't pay any attention to them outside. They tried to do all the stuff they were doing inside the house outside, and it's not transitioning at all, okay? So I was like, well, come on, it can't be that easy in the house. And it really is. Like, I meet this puppy and he's so relaxed. He gets a burst of energy when he meets new people, but then he settles down right away. And I saw some of their indoor routines, and that's when it clicked. I was like, oh, this puppy's life is too easy. So what happens is you go from indoor calm life. You did the work, but you're also lucky. You've got a great puppy with a great temperament that's nice and calm inside, getting lots of freedom because it's doing so well, but you're never challenging your puppy in the house anymore, like ever. And then it goes outside and it goes from super, super easy to super, super hard, and the puppy doesn't care about you anymore. So what do you do? You have to create challenges in the middle. You have to look for them sometimes. You have to create them. So that could be something really simple. That could be squeaking a toy or rolling a ball across the room while your puppy is on leash in the house and you're doing your let's go work, right? Because when you squeak that toy or calmly roll the ball across the room, the puppy's going to want to go for it. And you're going to turn and go, let's go. Too bad. Because if you can't do that in the house, how in the world are you going to be able to do it outside when your puppy sees another dog? You're not going to be able to. And so you have to create these scenarios. When you do place duration, this puppy will lay in place for hours and just fall asleep. It's incredible. They're so lucky. But they never walk around and challenge the puppy, or even pet the puppy and walk away, or squeak a toy, or make dinner and have the puppy be in place. There are so many medium level challenges you can practice. My favorite one is the front door. Is have your puppy back tied safely on place, or you're holding the leash, and just go and open your front door. And tell your puppy, to stay if you're doing, place work, or come if you're holding the leash and you open the door and you turn instead. They're not going to want to come to you. They're going to want to go outside. So my point is, you need to be creating challenges with your own puppy. Even putting food on the ground, recalling away from food, or using food to proof place. It's endless. The amount of challenges you can create in the home, medium level challenges, are endless. And I'm seeing so many people fall into the trap of they did their puppy training, their puppy's doing so good inside, and then outside it's way too much for them. And that's because they're forgetting to do all of these medium level challenges in the house to just up their game of impulse control with their puppy. All right, everybody. Hopefully that helps. And again, so happy that you joined our 100th episode. And I'll see you same time. Sparky and I will both see you same time, same place next week.